Good morning. It's been a while since I've done a longer video. I've been slammed, okay? But I felt like doing a little camera comparison today. See, I've got a phone called the Motorola Edge, the 2025 model, which works great for me. And I have the chance to compare it side by side with a Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. And so I'm going to test the cameras because I've always seen camera reviews of the Motorola Edge, the phone that I have on YouTube, but none of them that I've seen show the ability to record HD 1080p video with the 60 frames per second turned on. They always just show off the 4K 30 frames per second option, and I would like to see the 60 frames per second option out there. So it works great. So maybe I'll be the first one to show that off on the Motorola Edge, because one thing I've learned about trying to edit and upload 4K video is it takes a while. So I'm happy with just HD, regular, whatever, but at 60 frames per second because it's smoother. But anywho's, the Motorola Edge, you can get sometimes $200 full price, or some carriers you can get it for free if you switch over. Samsung it's like over 1,000 or something. That's insane. Of course, you get what you pay for because the processor, I've got all the specs here. The processor, RAM, storage, all that kind of blows it out of the water. It's got a larger and better screen in a way, which the one on the Motorola Edge is still nice and is rated for higher brightness. Also, the cheap Motorola Edge has a larger battery. And I don't know about the Samsung, but I've heard people say that the fingerprint reader sometimes doesn't work great. On the Motorola, it works fine. On the Motorola, it charges fast. It holds a charge for a long time. Syncs up great with my Motorola watch, even though you can put it on any Android device. And let's see, what's another thing that stuck out to me here? They both have 10 megapixel telephoto zoom lens, 50 megapixel ultra wide, and then a 50 megapixel main camera, but the Galaxy S25 Ultra also adds an additional 200 megapixel camera. So it's got the Motorola beat there. I'm gonna play with both, compare them. Yeah, probably newer Bluetooth standard. Wi-Fi specs look the same. No headphone jack on either of them, and nobody has expandable storage anymore, even though it's still included in the Android kernel that phone manufacturers can utilize, but they'd rather get you to pay them for more storage. In addition to the 5200 milliamp hour battery on the Motorola Edge 2025 compared to the Galaxy S25 Ultra, they both offer 15 watt wireless charging. The Samsung does offer reverse wireless charging, where you can wirelessly charge another device from that device, but the wired charging seems to be capped out at 45 watts, and on the Motorola, wired charging is 68 watts. And I know that when you pair it with the right charger, it charges fast. I'm going to, when I'm showing them side by side, I'm going to do vertical video so that they'll be side by side on a regular wide video. But when I'm doing them one at a time, like comparing zooms and stuff, I'll just do one at a time in the wide screen because I only have two hands. So I hope you all enjoy this little thing. All right, I've got the Samsung in my left hand, the Motorola in my right hand. Samsung set to 1080p 60 frames per second. The Motorola only goes up to 30 frames per second in this mode on the front camera. So I see a lot more shakiness in the Motorola, but the Motorola front camera is 50 megapixels compared to Samsung's 12 or 13, but I think the 60 frames per second part helps kind of even it out. We'll see though. Now I'm gonna check the other modes. Here's the 4K option on the front cameras. Again, Samsung offers a 60 frames per second setting. but it's limited to 30 on the Motorola. Gosh, I look awful. Anyways, yeah, it's smoother on the Samsung, but I don't know. I'm not a camera expert, okay? I make do with what I have. It's cold out here. Turn in the sun. Yeah, that 60 frames per second smooth. It's heavier though. It's a heavier phone. Kind of like the lightness of the Motorola. If Motorola could put cameras like this in a lightweight package, I'd be about that life. Here's full HD 60 on both. On the left, I'll have the which one's is which. See a little bit of jittery in the Motorola. Try moving fast. Yeah. Androids are notorious for that too. But if you're just going to have it up on a tripod, recording yourself, then it's great when it's still. I don't know why it keeps jittering like that on the Motorola. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. If I can get this stuff to take off, I'll invest in a better camera. Do a little more walking around here. Came here because it's secluded and private, and I look like an idiot. And just want to make a video real quick before the Spectrum store opens and I take my equipment back because I switched to AT&T fiber. And the lady tried to tell me that theirs was faster than anybody's, but due to the physical constraints of copper cables and cable internet, my upload speeds were capped out at about 35 megabits per second, and I get about 800 megabits per second upload on my fiber that's hooked directly to Ethernet on my computer. So yeah, I don't like waiting 2 hours for a longer YouTube video to upload. I'll be curious to see how long this one takes on fiber. All right, I'm going to get up here and I'll go ahead and stop the video and I'll switch to the 4K settings. We are starting with 4K 30 frames per second on both. That's the highest that the Motorola Edge will do. So Samsung has a 60 frames per second option and an 8K option, which I'm going to throw in this video as a bonus. See if I can record some birds. It's a cold morning, but it's nice to finally get out again. I've been slammed ever since the kids were on Christmas break from school. Between that, and sicknesses in the family, winter weather storms, starting the new semester at the college I work at. The downside of this semester is I only have 2 days. Well, I don't know if it's a downside. Last semester I had 3 days where I went in at 10:30. So I had more morning walks. But it's nice to get off at 4:30 with my family instead of 7. So 2 days, 10:30s. It's a nice balance. Alright. I'm going to briefly put the Motorola away and then go up on the settings on the Samsung. I'm going to do the zoom test on the video portions at full HD 60 frames per second. This is the Motorola Edge. Got up to 6x. That's what it looks like fully zoomed in. You can tap to go back out. Zoom test full HD 60 frames per second on the Samsung. There's no numbers listed. You scroll up down the side, there's 0.6x, counting up. See how far we can get. 20x zoom. Holy cow. I think there's somebody on the sun actually. Dang. You could almost see into the future with that zoom. Now we're back to 1x. Let's see if I can see those ducks over there with this. Yep. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Since this is the only device that I'm using now, I'll go widescreen to fill up the screen for you. This is a 4K 60 frames per second. Holy cow. My computer's gonna love trying to edit this. Well, I guess it's the editor I use. I use Kdenlive, which is free and open source. I got it figured out pretty good and it works great, but there's still an issue with GPU rendering, so it can't use the graphics card that I have in my computer to render videos. It has to use the CPU, which makes it take forever on a big video like this. I need to figure out Premiere Pro, I guess, because it works with graphics cards and I get it for free through my job, so it's just a lot of stuff to figure out. Of course, Kdenlive in an update just kind of changed the way I would edit videos is completely changed, so there's a new learning curve there too. Anyways, I'm just ranting on. This is 4K 60 frames per second on the Galaxy S25 Ultra on a cold, frosty morning. Now I'm going to give the 8K version a try. This is 8K 30 frames per second. You can tell it's 30 frames per second instead of 60 because it's not as smooth, but it's supposed to be 8K. That's what the camera settings say. We are in the Pistol Creek Wetland Center, which I did a video at here a few months ago. It was warmer, but you couldn't see us good. Pretty sure that's a spring-fed pond. Dang, these are crackling. It's frosty. Yeah, it's all right. Okay, now I'm going to start comparing the photo options on said cameras. appreciate y'all watching this, doing this outro on the Samsung. Just one of them random ideas I had, because like I said, I've been wanting to see actual footage before I got the Motorola Edge of it with the full HD 60 frames per second option. And everybody that did reviews online was all about the 4K part, so thought I'd slap one out there. And the longer stuff helps the numbers grow, even though shorts is really, I don't want to be a shorts only channel, but that's really what's taken off right now because of modern society and our attention spans. So I'm just trying to do what I can to maybe get ahead in life and supplement my income. I'm not trying to get rich and quit my job or nothing. I love what I do and I get to help students. I'm just trying to supplement that so we can breathe a little easier when it's time to pay bills. So appreciate all the growth, the subscribes and follows and likes, shares and all that good stuff. It's the viewers that really make a difference. So thank you all so much for this continued growth, and I'll come up with another idea for another long video. Hopefully spring will be here soon and I can be outside a lot more. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.